This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It's 9/15/23, mid-September, show 525. Options X is behind us.
Thank goodness for that, Kerry. It's finally over. There was some wild whipsaw throughout the entire week, as expected when you get this quarterly expiration. But I'm very, very happy and grateful that it is going to be behind us by the close today. So we'll see where we go. But this was really a thriller. I mean, this was filled with whips up and down. It was a roller coaster ride the entire week.
Yeah. So next week obviously is the Fed meeting. What's the market doing today, Nick?
Today we have the markets pulling back a bit. We see the Dow down about $100, 100 points. You have the Nasdaq though down 1%. That's $142 decline. And Nasdaq 100 is a little bit worse, down about 1.15%. The S&P 500 is lower by about 0.6% as we speak. So markets are backing off. But remember, they had a big day yesterday. So the markets were up quite a bit yesterday. And today they are backing off a bit.
Okay. So what's going to be with rates next week?
All right. That's a big one. You have Jay Powell expected to keep the Fed funds rate unchanged this time around. But once again, the language, the verbiage will be very, very important. That'll be a market mover. Now, here's the funny thing, Kerry. Yields are starting to move higher. And if you take a look at the 10-year today, it's sitting around 4.31, 4.32%. The 5-year Treasury note yield is above 5%. And, every time that gets above 5%, that starts to freak the market out. So I think you're going to have to keep an eye on that. This is definitely going to make the central banks uncomfortable. There's really not a lot of room for the Fed right now if yields continue to rise. If that 2 years starts to get into 5.15, 5.25, the Fed funds rate is a floating rate. It goes between 5.25 and 5.5 right now. So if that 2-year Treasury note yield creeps up there, I mean, he has no choice but to raise rates again at the November meeting.
Okay. So we got a couple earnings reports in yesterday, Adobe and Lennar.
Yes, Adobe, which, is a big software company. They reported stocks trading down right now by a little over 4%. That's a pretty big hit. But in all fairness, Adobe has had a great move in 2023. So that could be expected. Once you get so overbought on the bigger time frames, generally you're going to need to pull back. Now, Lennar is a leading home builder, and that is trading down by about 5% as well. So you're starting to see some of these leaders starting to come in. As we get into this, we're not even in earnings season anymore, but these are just companies that are reporting after the earnings season is really over. But you definitely want to pay attention to that. Lennar is making a little bit of a comeback today from the gap lower open. So we'll see where that finishes. But home builders have had a meteoric rise, and they're finally starting to pull back in a little bit from just an incredible run in 2023.
Okay, and oil prices hit 91. Now they're pulling back a bit.
Yeah, the oil's been on a little bit of a roller coaster ride here as well. Overnight they went to as high as 91. Then they went back down to 89. Now they're back above 90. So we're sitting at around 90.60 as we speak. And oil has been really the theme this week. Everybody's talking about it. Every time I turn around, I keep hearing about Saudi Arabia and OPEC potentially cutting, talking about further cuts. So that's been in the news this week. Maybe it's just an options expiration stunt. We do know that they have done production cuts. We know OPEC Plus, which is Russia, they have said that they will do production cuts as well. So that seems to be keeping a bid in oil right now. But I think oil is very overbought at this level. But with all the geopolitical events going on, you still got to be a little bit careful. Sometimes they'll spike these things higher than you think, and that's the norm with commodities in general. But oil's had a good showing this week, especially with the dollar being strong. So we definitely want to respect it. but I would be careful. I would not be a buyer of oil at this level.
All right. So gold, silver, gold's catching a bid, silver even more so.
Yes, gold is on fire today. It's up about $18 as we speak, above 1% now. Silver is on fire today, up nearly 2.75%. So both are having outstanding sessions, at least for now. And, the gold move today is going to be pretty important, in my opinion. Normally, we see gold and silver both get hit during Options X, and they tried to take it down this week. But if you finish the end of the week pretty strong, like it looks right now, and it's still early, we don't know where we're going to finish. But this could be the E.F. Hutton moment where, they're starting to talk to us. So I would definitely pay attention. The bigger time patterns are bullish for gold, so we want to respect that, at least at the moment.
Hey, so the other day, I don't think it was yesterday, the day before, gold was getting hit, but silver maintained a slight increase, like around 3 cents an ounce. So there was indication that something was happening there when they go in different directions.
Yeah, we definitely want to pay attention to that. Sometimes that's how the market works. It gives you an unclear story, and then it's trying to tell you something. So we definitely want to pay attention to that. All
right. And finally, Bitcoin trading down a little lower, but held up pretty well this week.
Yeah, Bitcoin, has that weekly chart pattern that is very, very bearish. So I would definitely be careful there. Overall, though, this week it held up pretty well, but I think it's headed down to that 21,500 area ultimately.
All right, time will tell. Well, that is it for today's show. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see his trading record and how he's beaten the averages for decades. The Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Emails are welcome, kl@kerrylutz.com. Write your YouTube comments below. We'll try to get to them in the coming week. In the meantime, have a great weekend, Nick, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Have a great weekend, Kerry.